Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my Bluish Flame deck. So I've never actually posted Bluish Flames since they came out like almost a year ago, I think. Almost a year ago, not quite. But they've been around for a while, at least in English. They came out during Legion format, so they're Legion focused. There's typically two different Bluish Flame builds. There's usually the one with Prominence Glare, and there's this one which I have, which is Prominence Core. I don't actually have Glare. Glare essentially plays like Yggdrasil, or any kind of decks that have the Glory Maelstrom effect. And then this one is more, Core is actually more of like a combo focused deck where it does a lot of stuff. It's very similar to Musketeers and Neo Nectar, if you're familiar with Musketeers. And it's more of like the typical Gold Paladin playstyle. And actually the Gurgurit Stride variant is actually very similar to Core in terms of the playstyle. So, for the grade 3s, I'm running 4 Bluish Flame Liberator Prominence Core. It was easy for me to build this deck because I pulled 2 cores from my boxes from way back, and then I just needed to get 2 more to get a playset. So I went with Core because he's the more budget-oriented one. Glare is pretty expensive. I would consider Glare more competitive just because of the Yggdrasil style of play, a Legion with guard restriction, but Core is a lot more fun in my opinion. And then the backup grade 3 is typically the same grade 3 for both, unless I know some people actually mix Core and Glare together, or they do like 4 Glare and 2 Core and 2 Percival, or 4 Percival and 2 Glare and 2 Core, or if they're on more of like a budget or something like that. Or even just 4 Core, 2 Percival, and 2 Glare, which I actually think would be pretty ideal. Because Glare kind of falls apart in late game if you have no counterblast. But anyway, so 4 Percival, mainly because he doesn't use any counterblast. He is very easy, his Legion effect is very easy to pull off. And it's a trial deck card, so it's really easy to get. So that's the grade 3 lineup. For grade 2s, 4 Oath Liberator Aglovale. So Aglovale is the Legion mate for both of my grade 3s. So he's the Legion mate for Percival, and he's also the Legion mate for Prominence Core. He is kind of like the main grade 2 engine of the deck, so you use him to start the combo when he's placed on R. It doesn't have to be from deck, so that's what I like about him. So definitely 4 of, because he's Legion mate for both grade 3s. The next grade 3 or grade 2 is the alternate form of Aglovale. So this one's Regulation Liberator Aglovale. This is actually the Legion mate for Prominence Glare. So you can run like 3 of this if you don't have 4, or even like 2 of him would be fine. But what he does is he basically keeps the combo going of superior calling cards from the deck, from the top of the deck. He's a little bit less consistent than the Oath Liberator, mainly because he can only use his effect to gain to basically superior call something when he's placed on the rear guard from the deck, whereas this guy can just be placed on the rear guard from the hand or the deck, doesn't matter. So he's a little bit more limited, but I like it. What I like about him is when he attacks, if your Vanguard has Bluish Flame in the name, he's an 11k, so that's why I try to run a lot of him. And then the next card could actually be the Tech Liberator. So like you can even run like Blaster Blade Liberator if you're gonna run Ballins or something. But for my style, I actually tried trying it out the new Taciturn Liberator Brenius. So this is the new guy from GBT3. So he came out back when Gurgurit and Claret Sword came out, when Gold Paladins basically got their stride stuff. So this is one of the support cards. It's a rare. For Bluish Flames to try to help them, or even just Liberators in general. It's not Bluish Flame specific, it's actually Liberator specific, so he's basically the replacement to Fallon. Fallon's not really needed if you have access to this guy. He's definitely a lot better than Fallon, mainly because because this guy is essentially your 11k, so he replaces Fallon in terms of the beat stick power, and then this guy can also become 11k when one of the other units is placed on R from the deck, and that happens very often because both of these guys do that Percival does that when he legions, and also Core can do that as well. So there's a lot of ways for him to become 11k. And on top of that, his effect actually, because it's an auto, it can stack. So he can actually gain more than 2k. He can gain like 4k, 6k if you call a lot of stuff. And then on top of that, he also has the red effect of when his attack hits a Vanguard, you can unflip a damage, and that unflip also stacks because these autos queue up every time something's called. So like if you call 3 things, he gains 6k, so he's 15 unboosted, and when he hits, he can unflip 3. So very good card. Mainly, I run him not so much for the plus 2k, but mainly because of the on hit he can unflip, because the deck does counterblast a lot, so he does help unflip. For grade 1s, I'm running 3 perfect guards. This is Light Formation, Liberator. This is the more rare one. It doesn't really matter which one, but ideally you do want to try to run the Liberator perfect guards. This one is the one that came out with Bluish Flames. The other one, the previous one, original Liberator one, is the Liberator Shield Mark. Either one works fine. And then I am running 1 Sword Formation Liberator Igraine. She's the Quintet Wall for the Liberators, or just Gold Paladin in general. I tend to conserve Counterblast enough with this guy. I don't worry too much about not having Counterblast to use her effect. So I do feel like 1 Quintet Wall in Legion, especially when you see the trigger lineup. This deck doesn't run any draw triggers, so the Quintet Wall is always, if you top deck a 0, it's always going to be a 10k shield, so that does help the Quintet Wall's consistency in terms of blocking potential. But to make it even better, make it even more defensive, I did add 1 tech card. This one's Guinevere. So I kept her mainly because going back to how Gurgurit played, Gold Paladin is very tanky. So this is another really good tank card. So this, along with Igraine, I feel makes the deck almost have like a 5th perfect guard, or like a 2nd Quintet Wall and like 3 perfect guards. So it's just another defensive tech choice. It's not really needed. It does use another counterblast, but if you have a full field, basically what it does is when it's placed on Guardian Circle, and note that it's on Guardian Circle, it's not from hand to Guardian Circle, meaning if Igraine top decks Guinevere and if you absolutely need to use Guinevere's skill to boost her shield potential, these two combo very well together, but just keep in mind that it will cost 2 counterblasts to do that. But basically when it's placed on rear, on G, if you have a Vanguard Liberator, you can counterblast 1, and she gains plus 5k shield for every Gold Paladin rear guard on the field. So if you have a full field, she's pretty much going to be like a constant guard. So yeah, it's like having a semi-extra perfect guard, so that's why I run it. Next, for Mayrain Liberator Bruno, this is really the win condition of the deck, in my opinion. Because Core is so combo-oriented with superior calling things so quickly, and then the rearguard Aglovales help do that, Bruno can get really, really strong. So Bruno makes the deck kind of like the Neo Nectar's playstyle of having big columns. So in my opinion, I feel like Bruno is really more of the win condition of the deck than anything else. So definitely 4 copies for that reason. And then 4 Fast Chase Liberator Josephus. When he's placed on the rearguard circle from the deck, you can Soul Blast a Liberator to draw 1 card. Assuming you have a Vanguard Liberator in the name. So because everything's Liberator, his effect will always go off when he's placed from the deck on the rearguard circle. And because he helps you draw cards, there's absolutely no reason to run draw triggers in here. And then 2 Physical Force Liberator Zoran. So this is my remaining tech choice. If you don't want to run Guinevere, you can run either a 4th one of these, or you can run a 3rd Zoran, but I kept the 1 Guinevere. So 2 Zoran just to help keep the combo going if you absolutely need to. He does go in the soul, so he does put more soul in for Josephus, and also Aglovale. For the trigger lineup, I am running 4 stand triggers. Catch Gold Liberator, he's very, very good with Bluish Flames, mainly because he shuffles the deck, so he recycles himself. He goes to the bottom of the deck when he's placed on rearguard circle from the deck. And he keeps the combo going. So he's another way to keep the combo going. He recycles himself, so he prevents deck out, and he just is a really good stand trigger in general for the deck. It's Liberator. I mean, there's no reason not to run this. And then the other new card that they got in set or GBT3 is this critical trigger, Ascendant Liberator, Barb Troop. This one is similar to Catch Call. It recycles itself. It goes to the bottom of the deck when it's placed on R. Nice thing about it is it doesn't have to be placed on R from the deck, unlike Catch Call. And it keeps the combo going of Superior Calling, with the only limitation being that you can only, it basically looks at 4 cards from the top and searches for a bluish flame in the card name. So it searches for your grade 3s basically. It can't search for anything else. And then it adds that card to your hand. So essentially it searches for stride fodder in the deck, since I am not running the stride enabler grade 1s. So that's why this card is pretty essential. And then 4 more criticals, just the Liberator critical that came out with Prominence Core. And then the heal trigger for Bluish Flames, or the newer Liberators that came out with Percival. So that's the trigger lineup. And then the starter I chose is Guido, mainly because he goes in the soul, and he can be used to start the combo, or keep it going if you don't want to use Counterblast, or if you don't have enough Counterblast. So pretty good starter, helps set up the field. For the stride deck, I am running 2 Campbell. This is a good first stride, or just a stride in early if you do not have, and you don't want to use any Counterblast. It can just help set up the field. And then 2 Golden Dragon, Scourge Point Dragon. This one is really the one that I feel is like the best stride unit for Gold Paladins right now. This one's from Fighters Collection. Basically, it becomes really strong when something is placed on R from the deck. It gains 5k, and the unit that's also called gets 5k. So it can make some really strong attacks on the turns that you stride it. And then I am running the 2 Golden Dragon, Spear Cross Dragon, mainly because you only really need 2 of this. You're not really going to use it too much. Gold Paladins or Liberators in general have enough ways of Superior Calling that you won't really need to go into this. It does have a hefty cost of Counterblast too, but I am running it just because it's very easy to obtain, and it can be used in a pinch just to fix the field if you need to, as a second stride or even third stride. And then the last is just the 2 Madu, because the deck is very heavily Legion focused. Usually what you'll do is you'll stride Madu if you do not have any Counterblast to use Spear Cross. If your field's already full and you have no Counterblast to use to generate anything to open R, so you can just use this for an extra drive check essentially, and you stride for free. So you can like toss a core from your hand to get Percival, and then you can like use Percival next turn. So that's basically the deck profile. Let me know what you guys think of the deck in the comments below, and as always, stay tuned for more Cardfight Vanguard videos, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.